Okay, it's me again. It's Friday, and I'm going to go through some more of my birthday books. I've got quite a huge, well, it's getting bigger, my stack of birthday books, which is, if you're not sure, not listened to this channel before, basically these books that came out at the same time as I did. So September 1969, I was born, and these books that I'm going to be showcases on these Fridays are going to be my birthday books. So books that came out at the same time as I did. Now let's move the Buddha over here. This is the Buddha. I'm at my girlfriend's house at the moment, so this is a different setup to what you normally would have seen. If I can get Buddha to help me by holding the comics up, that'd be nice. Right. Yeah. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this video actually. So I'm just doing this a bit impromptu at the moment. I normally would have done it around my own house, but yeah. So right, so here's 3 books. Every Friday I'm going to showcase 3 books from my birthday books, basically, just as they turn up. As they turn up, I do like a little opening video, so you can just get a first look at them. And then on the Friday, I'll get 3 books out, do a blog about them. Check out the blog if you want to know more about these comics. I'll go a bit more into depth about the comic books. Right, I'll take them out and have a look for little pages as well. Do it carefully so I don't. Right, so this one I think is, I can't remember what this was, like VF or not very fine, I don't know, FN minus I think this one was. It's in the blog anyway, I'm not really that bothered. It looks good enough to me. It's a little bit off, the white's gone, faded. But this is an anthology book, Marvel Tales number 22, featuring some classic stories from, I think there was like 65 and 64 kind of thing, so like a half a decade before this. The spine looks a bit rolled to me. The way that's on the wrong side, isn't it? That's very, very, yeah, but I say it's not too bothered. Not too bothered about that. But yeah, so this is a classic cover, this one. I saw this and I thought, oh yeah, I've seen this before. This is an awesome cover. This is like just, I mean, so it's just classic, really. That's all you can say about it, really. I'm not even sure, I can't remember who it is. I've written it in the blog. I think it's, what's his face? Steve Ditko, I think, but yeah, I'm usually remembering. So you said, yeah, Steve Ditko. Yeah, the plot is drawn by Steve Ditko, so I'm assuming he did the cover as well. But yeah, I actually read this story before this. Actually, I reckon I must have seen it reproduced before in an annual or something like that. I get the feeling there was a Spider-Man annual that I must have had, because I remember this. It starts off chained up, and the captive of the Green Goblin, and there's the crime master or the crime lord or something, crime master, and and Spider-Man suspects somebody who's working at the Daily Bugle, or used to be a criminal called Mr. Big. He suspects him of being either the crime master or the Green Goblin. But that's how Spider-Man rolled in those days. Always suspicious of people, and always mystery going on, and that was one of the things that put me off Spider-Man in the end, actually, how things dragged on forever. You never learned the identity of these menaces that are plaguing him. A new menace would come along, you wouldn't know who it was, it would be someone close to him, but you wouldn't be sure who it was, But yeah, that's the kind of, I suppose that's a trope or whatever, that's a regular thing that happened. Right, so that's a pretty cool story anyway, it's a classic. Aunt May there, and then we got a couple of stories that I hadn't read before. One featuring Thor fighting against Magneto. I forgot. I love the. You can. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let's hold the camera up a little bit so you can see it better. But the box, written by Stan Lee, the monarch of the Marvel Age at the pinnacle of his power, illustrated by Jack Kirby, the prince of pageantry at the height of his titanic talent. Inked by Chick Stone, the Dean of Line Design at the peak of his prowess, and lettered by S. Rosen, the Sultan of Spelling, at his little table in the studio. That's what it says there. I think I read it the wrong way around. At the little table in the studio, yeah, more or less. So this one, this story and the one after it, it's like early stuff to do with the X-Men. This is the X-Men when we first were introduced. In this one, we don't even properly see the X-Men. We see the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and Magneto. And I forgot back in the day, Scarlet Witch and of course and Quicksilver were the children, weren't they? But I think at this point they didn't know they were the children of Magneto, did they? When they first were around, they weren't sure of their heritage. In fact, they seemed they don't like him. But yeah, they still do his bidding anyway. You don't actually see the X-Men in this, but you get hints at them. Like what happens is another thing I'd forgotten. Old Thor. This is the woman who becomes Thor. This is his girlfriend at the time, Jane Foster, is it? She ends up becoming I don't know, 30, 40 years later, whatever it is. This is about 65. When did she become 4? 2005, maybe, I don't know, maybe later than that probably. But yeah, it's quite funny. You look at the way that she acts in this, to think that she would one day become 4, and just it's quite funny. And I forgot as well, his weakness back in the days, if he let Mjolnir out of his grasp for more than a minute, which is not much time at all, he would revert back to his Donald Blake persona. It's quite cool. You don't get so many weaknesses anymore in comic books. If you think about it, it was always used to be a weakness. It used to be a big key thing that these powerful super people would have a weakness, and it made it more interesting. It made, like, for example, Superman's kryptonite, Thor, and having to hold Mjolnir for practically all the time. Otherwise, he loses his powers. But see, he loses his powers here. But luckily, he's not. He's got away from Magneto, and then he spends the rest of it trying to get back to his walking stick so he can whack it on the floor and turn it back into Mjolnir again. But see, you don't actually get to see the X-Men, but at this point, he's got a thermonuclear proton bomb that he's going to set off while he escapes, but he gets spooked. Yeah, ice starts forming around the mechanism. It can only mean one thing, and then you can see here, I think that's Beast's hands, and there's a shadow of Angel on the wall, and that's all you get to see of them in this book. And when Don gets his hammer back and whacks it into the ground to turn it back into Mjolnir, he sees. Let's just get the camera up again. Magneto fleeing in a one-man sub, but what is that strange craft pursuing him? It seems to be marked only with an X. So that's obviously Thor's first encounter with the X-Men. Obviously, it's a reproduction of the first encounter with the X-Men. It's not the actual first one. The first one was like 1965, about 4 years before. And again, in this one, Human Torch meets the Iceman, and he's sitting at the beginning reading about an X-Men battle with the Brotherhood of Super Mutants, and he's not met the X-Men at this point. So it just so happens that both Human Torch and Iceman, Bobby Drake, end up on the same boat that gets waylaid by pirates. Pirates in New York Bay or whatever it is. This seems a bit silly when you think about it. It's just like a cruise kind of thing, not even sort of going anywhere, just like cruising around in the bay for a bit, like, and having a little party on board. All the swinging teens can be found on there apparently. That's why Bobby Drake goes there, to meet up with some swinging teens. And then the Barracuda and his mob of pirates attack, and the guys sort them out. So this will be the first meeting of Human Torch with any of the X-Men, I suppose. A little bit of a tear in the last couple of pages. Oh, 2 tears there. It says on the back cover, a little tear there. I didn't do that. It was that when I got it. Another thing that I'm not too sure about, if this cover's been restuck, because there's staples here and here. I mean, I had a Spider-Man, a giant Spider-Man book that had staples there and there, and I remembered the ones that I'd had from the 90s. I never had staples like that, kept that in them. So I wondered if maybe that was just a feature and how the books were put together in this era. This is, say, 1969, so maybe they were put together differently. I seem to recall in the 90s they were just glued to the cover. The cover was glued on. I don't remember there being staples in it, but that might just be me remembering wrong. I'm not too sure. But anyway, that's a nice book, nice thick book. It didn't cost me too much. It's not the greatest grade, but yeah, I'm more than happy than that. There you go. You look after that for me, Buddha. Now let's get to the next one, because I don't want to make these videos too long, to be honest. Because right, let's get this next one. It's a bit of a horror comic, a DC horror comic. I didn't collect too many of these back in the day. I did collect a few, but this is The Unexpected. Apparently it started off as Tales of the Unexpected, then it became The Unexpected. I think it might have changed over to, it might have mixed up with some other anthology books, either that or some other anthology books joined up with this. But yeah, this is the Mad Mod Witch. She's one of the storytellers. Let's get that a bit closer. That's the Mad Mod Witch. Apparently she features in The Dreaming of the Sandman as well later on. She's a creature known as the Fashion Beast or something like that, or a fashion fiend or fashion monster, because she's sort of he's such a weird character. She's like a mod, or she's like a punk at some time. She's a flapper at another time, according to what it says on the DC wiki anyway. But yeah, so there's a couple of stories in this one. First, another character who he's been around for a while as well, is Johnny Peril. It's the first time I've read about him actually, but basically he was like an investigator, a mystery investigator, and like a supernatural kind of adventurer, that kind of thing. He never actually had any powers, but he'd always find himself in scrapes. Like in this one, like a clay effigy is made with a gem, a moonstone in its forehead, and this magician or wherever he is uses the moonstone to start siphoning the life force of Johnny Peril, basically putting him in peril, and to power his automaton, his golem, whatever it is. He actually calls it an android, but I don't think it's an android because it hasn't got any mechanical parts. It's just made out of clay, so I don't think android is the correct nom de guerre, whatever the word is. Nomenclature, whatever. I can never say that word. Yeah, apparently Johnny Peril appeared in the New 52 as well as a member of the Team Argus in one of the Justice League Dark books. And then here you have Tales of the Mad Mod Witch. Bit of a crazy tale. The Well of Second Chances. Actually, reading through the story, it doesn't make an awful lot of sense, to be honest. You put a coin in the well, and you wish you had your life over differently. And every time the three people that do it, every time they do it, it turns out to be something disastrous. And but then they all. So you think I thought they went to have a second life. The life ends in disaster, and I assumed they were dead. And that was the end of them. And it was like, so don't use the well because it's a disaster. But no, then they all re-emerge. They re-emerge back from the well. So this fourth character, Von Krupt, who's a Nazi on the run from the War Crimes Commission, he's being chased by the War Crimes Commission. So he throws a coin in to try and get a second life, a new life, a second chance. But it doesn't happen. So he's shaking his fist in rage and he falls in the well and drowns. And then it turns out at the end, as the old crone tells us, the old mate, she goes, if those squares had ever searched the bottom of the well for Von Krupt's coin and found it, they'd have a shockaroo of a discovery. It was a queer, a counterfeit. Now you can't expect a wishing well to make a wish come true with a phony coin, can you? And so Von Krupt met his fate in an unexpected way that sent him far away, right out of this world. Drop into my pad in the next issue, you cats, for another creepy happening. I love the dialogue. This is 1969. This is a hippie witch. It's awesome. Bit of fun. Bit of spine roll there. You can see, I think. But yeah, you know, I'm not bothered. It's just cool to hold a book in my hand, which is same age as I am. It's probably in better nick than I am. Right, the last one for this little go-through, Challengers of the Unknown. This came out September 1969, and it is number 69. This is not bad, Nick. I think it's down as VG 4.0 rating. But, yeah, whatever. Prof is dead. This is the end of the Challengers. Wrong! I am your new challenger. I was saying it menacingly, but it's not actually menacingly in the story. But look at the shadow there. She looks like she's some kind of witch creature. She's got rather a pointy boob, actually. But it makes it look like more like a monster, but she's not. She's a nice woman. Right, The Secret of Skull Mountain. So this takes the challengers to Skull Mountain, where a scientist has disappeared. And it's quite interesting. It must have happened in the previous issue, obviously. The prof here, his mind has been seized by a malevolent entity spawned by a deranged computer. This tale is told in One of Us is a Madman in Challengers number 68, so the episode before this. Anyway, so this presence that's inside his mind is sort of forcing him to do bad things, to sort of sabotage the team. At one point, he nearly throws one of his teammates off of a cliff. Another time, he grabs a mace and tries to brain his teammate. Is it Rocky? I think it was Rocky, the tough guy of the team. And, anyway, he knocks his mate off a cliff, nearly kills him. I don't think he realises that he knocks him off the cliff, but he doesn't. He just stands there and doesn't help him. So that angers him, and he gives him a zock. Gives him a zock on the chin. Anyway, so yeah, they find this castle where this scientist, Stark, I think his name is, Algernon Stark. He's trying to find the secret of immortality. as you know, as crazy scientists do. You know, if you're gonna be spending your time being a crazy scientist, you might as well make it one of the big ones, like creating new life, finding new immortality, that kind of thing. Those are the main issues that people want to solve if you're a mad scientist. Yeah. So this is Prof attacking. I think it's Rocky again. Nearly bonks him out with a blinking morning star. Yeah, and then later on, the Algernon Stark comes in, threatens to kill them. He wants them to go into his cryogenic pod so he can use their body parts for experimentation or whatever. Oh, this is a monster that he created before, by the way. What they're fighting there, this hulking beast. Oh, here is his daughter, Karina. She's the one who, on the front here, I'm your new challenger. So what happens, when he comes in with his gun, Algernon, sorry for spoilers, but yeah, I'm not sure if this is something people are interested in finding out about anyway. But yeah, Prof, to try and atone for the fact that he's been possessed and because he doesn't think his life is worth living while he's possessed by this monster, he jumps in the way of the gun, challenges Algernon, allowing the rest of the team to overpower him. Then at death's door, a tiny spark of life still within him. They stick him in the freezer, in the refrigeration units, the cryogenic pods, whatever they're called. And I think it's, I can't remember, I think that's Rocky. He says, oh, he's decided he's had enough. He's had enough with his buddies. His buddies no longer. I've had it, really had it. First Prof goes nuts, then he gets shoved in a blasted refrigerator like a plucked chicken. Well, you can shove this stupid costume in next to him. We run around the world playing hero. Yeah, some heroes. We can't even take care of our buddy, so forget it. I'm through. I sympathise with your grief, but I need you to reconsider. The world needs the challengers. Evil forces like my father cannot be combated by ordinary men with ordinary means. I pray your friend recovers, and until he does, I shall humbly attempt to fill his place. With your permission, I count myself a challenger. So there you go. Right, another thing I discovered, right, going through my books recently, you may have seen that I share my birthday, so to speak, with the Falcon. Captain America 117, September 1969, was the first appearance of the Falcon. So as far as I'm concerned, we share a birthday. And also Vampirella. Vampirella 1, I think it was Harris Comics, back in September 1969. That was her first appearance. And also, I have discovered another first appearance, September 1969, by this fella here. This fella here, apparently, first appearance... No, hold on a second. Yeah, this is the one I've got. This is the other book that I've got, House of Secrets. So it's Cain and Abel, basically. And apparently the first appearance of Abel was September 1969 in this book, book 81 of the House of Secrets. So I found another character that I share my birthday with. I'm not too happy it's a character that gets killed practically every week in the book because his brother is the first murderer and he's the first murder victim. I could do without being, I don't know, just, I don't want to tempt fate or nothing. I've got two brothers. I don't think either of them will murder me. But anyway, so that's it. That's my 3 books for this Friday's look at my birthday books. Yeah, I'm not really good with holding them up here. Don't want to get them creased. So that's it. That's the 3 books for this week. Cheers for watching. Check them out in the blog. I've got some more information in the blog if you're interested. And yeah, I'll be back next week. Back Wednesday with my Counting Comics. Back next Friday talking about some more birthday books. Cheers for watching. Buddha says bye.